That's an easy night for y'all. Y'all come here and box me up real quick, probably clip me, then go home.
As a business, I understand. I ain't gonna hate on the decision, but as a man
your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
fighter with my integrity.
Jake Paul is training with Shakur Stevenson as he prepares for his showdown with Gervonta Tank Davis. To mirror Tank's speed, size, and skill, Jake handpicked Stevenson as a sparring partner, a move designed to sharpen his reflexes and defense. After 5 years in the professional ranks, Jake believes this intense preparation will give him the edge. Confident and driven, he's ready to shock the boxing world, aiming to knock out Gervonta Davis and prove he truly belongs among the sport's elite.
You prepare for, like you said, a guy who is shorter than you. How do you find a sparring opponent to replicate something that obviously, there's nobody else out there that's Tank Davis? How do you prepare for a guy that's different stature-wise?
Yeah, no, we have world champions. Raymond Ford in the 130-pound weight class. We got Montana Lovin. Shakur Stevenson is coming in this week. So
Wow.
Just sparring against guys on their level and people who have, been doing this their whole entire lives. But we're really focusing on speed and not as much on power. I'm not doing as much like weightlifting and all of that stuff. I'm actually trying to like lose some muscle so that I have less weight and so that my punches are coming off faster.
Jake Paul's journey from social media star to professional boxer has been nothing short of extraordinary. In just a few short years, he's earned multiple sanctioned wins, showcasing real discipline and growth inside the ring. Critics remain loud, but Jake keeps pushing, relentless in training, driven to prove that his rise is no fluke. Now, as he prepares to face Gervonta Davis, the stakes have never been higher. This isn't just another fight. It's the ultimate test of his evolution. Power, precision, and perseverance will decide whether Jake Paul can once again shock the world and redefine what's possible for a fighter who started outside the system.
Shock the world and even shock myself and show myself what I'm capable of.
When you picture how it goes down, is there something that you see yourself doing? Do you see yourself knocking him out? Do you imagine being victorious? And what would that mean for you? A guy, again, who has only been in this sport for a couple of years. You've turned it on its head. You've had a massive impact, clearly, in just a few years, but it's only been a few years. That's the bottom line.
No, exactly. This is my 5th year as a pro. And so I've had to progress faster than anyone else in the sport to be able to compete at this level and to be able to hang in there with these guys. But I do believe that I have the power and the offense to be able to walk Tank into a knockout like I've done with other opponents and set them up for it. And so I am fully confident in my ability, and I think it would be one of the craziest upsets in a long time.
Yeah, well, one of the craziest upsets ever, probably in many people's eyes. Well, I think I saw Cardi B just put a $250,000 bet down. It was a parlay, I believe, on Aspen all over Cyril Gahn. But then for Tank to beat you, have you seen that? And what do you think about Cardi B potentially placing a $250,000 bet here?
I didn't know.
I saw it on one of the MMA sites.
Jake Paul has recently brought Shakur Stevenson into his training camp, a move that underscores his commitment to serious preparation. According to Paul, Stevenson personally reached out to join the team, adding credibility to this new phase of training. To emulate Gervonta Tank Davis's speed and southpaw rhythm, Jake has filled his camp with skilled left-handed sparring partners. This diverse setup sharpens his timing, angles, and defensive reflexes to mirror Tank's movement. Paul's focus has evolved, shifting from pure power to discipline, precision, and conditioning. With Stevenson's technical expertise guiding him, Jake's once unorthodox style now carries the polish of a true contender, signaling his intent to compete at boxing's highest level.
Sparring, we got some great guys coming in, some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in, Jermaine Ortiz. We're going to hit up Erickson Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just going to bring in a plethora of fighters that are fast, quick, shifty south.
Despite endless debates over celebrity boxing, the sport's traditional allure remains untouched. Fans still pack arenas not just for spectacle, but for the nostalgia and reverence boxing commands. The upcoming showdown between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis has reignited conversation across every corner of the fight world. Fighter Brian Mendoza noted that moments like these represent boxing's evolution. If an athlete draws attention and revenue, they deserve the stage. After all, boxing is a business where visibility breeds opportunity. This fight has sparked global discussion, keeping the sport alive, relevant, and thriving in a fast-paced, social media-driven era.
Man, it's crazy, but people getting paid off of it.
Yeah.
So if he can call any one of y'all out and y'all can get that payday, I say go get it, baby.
You know,
I'm not mad at it.
For me, and I'm not. I got no. I'm not mad at this move at all for Tank Davis, but I think when it comes to boxing fans, there's an essence that comes with this sport, and it's an essence that hasn't been lost, unlike other sports. For an example, with football, we come from the hitting days.
Yeah.
Can't hit nowadays. You know what I mean? So boxing hasn't lost its essence. You know, they're trying to make it safer and all those sorts of things. But there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore. But it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like they're talking like I don't know the official one. They're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh damn!
Like, they're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that. But I do see exactly what you're saying about the essence of boxing. I wish they would kind of separate a little more because exhibitions have always been a thing. There's always been an argument.
Right.
But they're just selling it like a real fight almost.
Right.
So I think that maybe if we could create a better like distinction, more of a difference.
Right.
There might be less hate on it, but at the end of the day, man, I'm not going to tell Tank not to take that fight.
And I said this last year. I said create a influencer title. And let those guys fight over there in the influencer world. They can live the world and the life of I'm a world champion.
The unexpected alliance between Jake Paul and Shakur Stevenson took many fans by surprise. Known for his composure and professionalism, Stevenson rarely teams up with crossover boxers. Yet this partnership represents a unique blend of traditional skill and modern showmanship. Critics may find it unconventional, but both men benefit. Jake gains elite-level technical insight, while Stevenson connects with a wider, younger audience. Their training sessions are described as intense, focused, and deeply collaborative, proving that unlikely pairings can produce real growth. This union blurs the boundary between entertainment boxing and elite competition, signaling how the sport continues to evolve with its audience.
Shakur Stevenson reached out to Jake Paul in support of him preparing for Gervonta Davis. Help me understand what is the difference between Boots Ennis reaching out to Canelo Alvarez in support of his preparation for Terrence Crawford versus Shakur Stevenson reaching out to Jake Paul in preparation for his fight with Gervonta Davis. Tell me what is the difference. I'll tell you what the difference is. The Ennis family actually had a relationship with Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson has no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Boots is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout? I don't want to hear anything about this fight. It's against a YouTuber, it doesn't matter. No, Shakur Stevenson is an elite level fighter that is going to be a sparring partner to a YouTuber, and he reached out to him directly?
Since the announcement of Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson hasn't shied away from sharing his perspective. Many assumed his involvement signaled support for Jake, but Stevenson clarified his position with balance and professionalism. He views the fight from two angles: business and competition. From a promotional standpoint, he recognizes the event's potential to generate major attention and revenue. Yet, he admits it challenges boxing's traditional sense of purity. Choosing neutrality, Stevenson respects both fighters while highlighting how moments like this reflect boxing's ongoing evolution, rather than any personal bias.
Taking that opportunity, because this is prize fighting, right? It's about making money and securing your family. Can you fault him for that?
It's two sides of that. Like,
Okay.
it just depends. Like, as a fighter, just because I had a draw with somebody, for me, I may run it back. But in a business aspect, if you run it back and you lose to Lamont, and then the Jake Paul fight is presented, you may not make as much money, or the fight may not be as lucrative as it was before you lost. So as a business, I understand. I ain't gonna hate on the decision, but as a man
Your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
fighter with my integrity.
Yeah, but isn't there a price for everything, Shakur? Like, even if you had a draw with somebody and you were offered 10 times more than you ever, I don't know what the number is, but it's a lot more than he's ever made. You think you might consider doing the same thing, right?
I would, but you gotta also realize I know that it's not going nowhere. Like the fight ain't gonna go nowhere. Like say, because if I really believe in myself,
right,
and I wholeheartedly think like if we fight again, I'm gonna win this fight.
That fight still be there around the
After
corner.
I beat this motherfucker, where you at?
Yeah.
The fight still there. It's not gonna go nowhere. But if I have a 50-50 thought process to where it's like, yeah, I got doubt in my brain, I may be like, all right, fuck it.
Also,
Let's
in his
cash
case,
out.
case, it might be that he's tired of fighting anyway. He's leaning towards retiring
Yeah,
anyway.
let's cash out.
So he's just gonna get that money.
Boxing commentators remain divided over the upcoming clash between Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis. Traditionalists dismiss it as a marketing spectacle that threatens to overshadow authentic competition. Yet even critics admit these crossover fights attract new fans and boost the sports business. The irony runs deep. Those who denounce the matchup often profit from the attention it creates. Broadcasters, promoters, and even rival fighters gain from its spotlight. This paradox reveals boxing's modern identity, a sport that thrives not only on skill and rivalry, but on personalities and stories that keep audiences watching.
For sure, there's a lot of people that switched over now. Everybody's like, oh, I've been telling y'all, Shakur. I know y'all have not. Y'all all been quiet.
They on the bandwagon now.
Do you actually, we talked to Virgil Ortiz, right? He told us that he be screenshotting a lot of the hate on Instagram to remember to maybe one day comment on their posts. Do you remember certain comments or posts that bother you?
I remember it, but like I'm not gonna screenshot it. What I do, I kind of like if I see something, I be ready to argue it or go back and forth, but I get up and run.
But I'm
like,
talking
fuck
about
it, I'm gonna
get
go
up and run.
Run 3 miles.
It motivates you.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
for
talking
sure.
about like somebody that you know in the boxing industry that you respected, that you kind of was disappointed, like, damn. Like
Everybody, except for the people that's like right there with me, like the Bud Crawford. He's somebody who kind of stayed with me throughout everything, and I think he's one of the realest people in the sport of boxing. But everybody, I feel like everybody just said.
Like commentators, people that hold shows.
And people around me started moving different.
Like
everybody,
like friends?
everybody.
Really?
Everybody.
So you had to cut some people off?
Yeah. Yes. I cut people
People
off.
you thought were friends.
Yes.
When you say moving different, what do you mean?
I ain't gonna like go into detail because I ain't gonna need to put everybody on the spot, but a lot of people start looking at me different. Social media make people think a certain image or certain things about you. Like people I walk into every day, like, bro, I know you. I've been around you for years. You know me. So if you know me, how you feel as though that you gonna go and look at me different or treat me different than what I already was. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, what did Turkey say after that win, like on a personal conversation? Did he say anything to you?
Nah, he just said, good job. We're going to get you on the next card.
Former UFC champion and veteran commentator Daniel Cormier didn't hold back in his critique of the matchup. He called Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis less thrilling than the fights Tank could be taking. In Cormier's view, Davis has already proven his worth. He doesn't need to chase spectacle-driven bouts. Unlike fighters seeking paydays, Tank has both financial security and legacy, making this matchup feel unnecessary to Cormier. His stance reflects a broader divide among combat sports veterans. Some value the exposure, others see it as a blow to the sport's purity. Yet ironically, Cormier's blunt remarks only heighten intrigue, fueling buzz around an already headline-grabbing event.
190. Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him.
Yes.
He recognizes that he's too big for him.
I'm wondering how this even came about. It can't be that Gervonta Davis needs money. That can't be the reason why
He's been a world
taking
champion
this fight.
so recently. How could he be broke?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he doing this for money? And then why and how is even Jake Paul doing this when no one respects it. Like,
But
I
Jake
can't
Paul-
think of anybody that respects this.
But Jake Paul has been able to carve out and make his own lane in boxing, and I've never seen anything like it, bro. He literally, I mean, we don't know what weight class he fights in any situation. We just don't know. He kind of makes his own rules.
He makes his own rules.
And it seems like people are playing by those rules. I remember a couple weeks ago, the WBC and the Jose Suleiman was very upset that he wasn't going to be able to put the belt on the winner at Canelo versus Crawford. That's a thing that's happened since the beginning of the time. Those guys are very powerful in boxing. But with Zuffa boxing, it was almost like that power was getting stripped away. They were very disappointed. But how can you take those sanctioning organizations seriously when they are sanctioning this?
That's my point. That's why I think that this whole thing that we have, this boxing and this MMA argument and Zuffa getting into boxing, our argument is misplaced because things like this should not be happening. And the fact that boxing is allowing this to happen is an embarrassment to the sport.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I talked about this before. Like, I didn't know why they were fighting because, I mean, Gervonta Davis's last fight was at 130.
Within boxing circles, a potential showdown between Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Tank Davis is viewed as the ultimate test of skill. Both possess elite technique, mental composure, and championship experience. Their clash would embody pure boxing, precision, defense, and ring IQ at its finest. While Jake Paul brings mainstream entertainment, Stevenson versus Davis represents the sport's purest form. This contrast matters. It proves that modern boxing can blend spectacle with authentic competition. The buzz surrounding a potential Stevenson-Davis fight underscores the sport's depth, reminding fans that true mastery still commands the spotlight.
We have 2 belts. We have Tank to get a couple of the belts, and you have a undisputed fight for those 2 in Las Vegas, in America, between 2 American guys getting undisputed championship of the world. That would be a mega fight. And we're talking about 2 guys that you have the most dominant, persistent, powerful guy, pound for pound powerful guy, I should say, in Tank, who also is very good defensively. But then you're fighting the best defensive fighter in the entire world, in my opinion. That is a fight I would love to see happen. I would be a big fan of, but I think if we could let that kind of fester and develop for a little bit, and we get that fight, summertime next year, fall of next year, where this is an undisputed fight, I think that's the fight we would love to see have happen. I would be all for that. And I think it's realistic. Like I said, I don't think Tank's losing to anybody except for possibly Shakur, and I don't think Shakur's losing to anybody except for possibly Tank.
Former world champion Tim Bradley weighed in on Shakur Stevenson's career, arguing there's no reason to chase a fight with Gervonta Tank Davis unless it truly enhances his legacy. Bradley emphasized that Stevenson already commands world titles and widespread respect. If he doubts Tank's credentials, then pursuing that matchup may not be the smartest strategic move. His insight reflects the precision and patience behind elite boxing, where timing, legacy, and matchmaking define lasting greatness at the same time. The rise of crossover boxing, driven by personalities like Jake Paul, has transformed the sports landscape. Traditionalists may scoff, yet the audience numbers tell a different story. These events draw millions of new fans, injecting fresh energy and youth into boxing's economy. Promoters, networks, and sponsors all profit, proving that the sport's survival in the digital era relies on figures who merge entertainment with athletic excellence. Jake Paul's ascent isn't just self-promotion. It's a symbol of boxing's evolution in the modern media age.
So on and so forth. So, with that being said, why even want to entertain the fight with Tank Davis? I mean, how much credit are you going to really get, Shakur, besides the money, right? That's what Tank brings. He brings interest. He brings a lot of fans in the seats, But as far as legacy goes, if people are holding Tank at a very low status, what, do you need him? Do you really need him? How you doing, man? Good morning. Do you really need him? Because I personally don't think that you need him, Shakur, you should be here to create your own legacy. You're about the competition. You are about that bread as well. And I think it's important for you to really look at the landscape, man, of boxing and see where your big money fights are, you know, besides Tank Davis. As you know, you hear through the grapevine, I think he even told you on X that, you know, he's contemplating retirement after his Jake Paul fight. You know, you're getting ready, hopefully, if Teofimo Lopez signs the contract, Shakur, to be fighting Teofimo Lopez, who has accomplished quite a bit in the sport, man, and has been in the ring with some legends, Josh Taylor, also Lomachenko. I think that type of fight makes sense. You know, going up to 140 pounds, getting it.
And that wraps up today's episode. Stay tuned. There's plenty more coming your way.